Hello YouTube, welcome to my first ever YouTube channel and also the first video I uploaded. A little brief history about this YouTube channel. I really like to share some of the aviation inside knowledge since I'm currently an instrument rated private pilot. Just like to share out some of the flying clips and also how do pilots actually fly in real world. And today's video I'm going to shoot an instrument approach into Bremerton, which is an echo, and I would also demonstrate how to circle to land as part of the instrument approach procedures. So in this scenario, we're taking off from a class Delta just situated southwest of Seattle, called Tacoma Narrows. We are handed over to the Seattle approach, and the Seattle approach told us to climb and maintain 3000 and clear direct to Zogi. So we did just that, and our G1000 flight plan, it's showing that our next waypoint is our Zogi. Looking at the approach plate, let's start a approach plate briefing. It starts on the very top under the pilot briefing and procedure notes. So we can see this is going to be a GPS approach for Bremerton International Airport runway 2. We have our approach course heading 017, our landing length is 6,000, touchdown zone elevation is 444 feet, the same as the airport elevation. Looking at the procedure notes, we don't really see anything that's applicable to us since we are category A for circling, and we are not helicopter, and we have the local altimeter. Looking down at the plane view, we can see we're going to Zogi about 10 miles out. We will be doing a procedure turn, joining inbound on a 010 radio. And as we were doing our approach plate briefing, the ATC gave us the instruction to climb and maintain 4000. So we buck our altitude indicator and make a flight level change to let the airplane climb. After verifying all the pilots doing the right thing, we go back to our briefing. Passing Zogi, we can descend down to 2100 before reaching Sabat, our final approach fix. After our final approach fix, we can descend down to our circling minimum, which is 1160. We're going to do a right turn joining the left downwind for runway 20. We'll maintain the runway visual at all times and descend as appropriate for a touch and go. Our missed approach procedure will be climbed 1200, then climbing right turn to 4000 direct to Zogi. Since this is going to be a circling approach, our missed approach procedure is going to be a little different. Say that we're maintaining the runway in sight on the left downwind and we lose visual for the runway. Then we're going to make a gradual left turn, climbing turn towards the runway and climb to 1200 before making a right turn, climbing direct to Zogi. Say if we're doing, if we lose the visual during our base, then we're going to actually turning left towards runway 20 and then climbing while we're turning towards the runway and direct to Zogi. And let's say if we lose the visual on runway during our final, then we're just gonna maintain the runway heading and do a straight out climb until we reach the minimum decision altitude for circling 1160. Then we can direct to Zogi. Looking at the airport diagram on the lower right, we can expect for runway 20, we have a Mauser with the pilot control lighting, and we have an unused runway to our left for a landmark value. That concludes our approach plate briefing. It seems like we got a couple miles before reaching Zogi for the procedure turn, so we're just going to start off with our descent checklist. We have our make sure full strobe lights and landing lights are on. We have our fuselage valves is on both. Fuel shutoff is on. And it's about our descent checklist. And right when we're getting ready to anticipate the procedure turn, the ATC gave us another instruction. Maintain 4000 until reaching Zogi. Clear for straighting RNF02 into Bremerton. We read back the instructions and immediately remove the hold in our GPS plan since we're not anticipating a procedure attempt. It's not unusual for ATC to give us a approach clearance super close to our initial approach fix. And well, we did everything we can and programmed the GPS. The next thing we'll just anticipate the airplane to turn inbound and passing Zogi. We're going to descend to 2100 before reaching our final approach fix, Sabad. In the meantime, we're going to tell our GPS we're going to use the VNAV to help us with the descent. We're going to bug our altitude to 2100, and the vertical path mode should be on our standby right next to altitude mode, which is anticipated. It's worth noting that after Zogi we can descend down to 2100, but the GPS is not going to take us directly above Zogi. It's going to draw an arc, so we're not really going to go over the Zogi waypoint. So when can we descend? General rule of thumb is after we turn inbound and establish on that route. As for our autopilot, it's actually going to descend at the midpoint of our turning, so at the middle of our turning arc. And it's not necessarily wrong. I like to interpret it as once we're fully established, meaning we've finished our turning, then we're considered safe to descend down to 2100. And also that's after passing Zogi, passing your fix. Alright, and now we're going to pick up our weather at Bremerton one last time to see if there's anything changes, especially the wind condition.
Automated weather observation 0200 Zulu. Wind 0 tree 1 at 6. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 17 Celsius. Dew point 10 Celsius. Altimeter tree 002.
Alright, we can update our altimeter. As we're descending down via the vertical navigation, I almost forgot to arm the approach, which is very essential. So we just press that approach button, the glide path should be armed. Right around this point during our approach, like I anticipated, the ATC gave us the following instruction. Radar services terminated, switch to advisory approved. We read back over to the advisory and talk to you on the mist. After we switch over to the advisory and listening on the Bremerton traffic, we're going to make our position report as we continue down the approach. It's worth noting that on the Microsoft Flight Simulator G1000 system, there's a lot of missing functionalities compared to the real G1000. One important feature being on the MFD display under the flight plan, there is no buttons to change the distance readout to cumulative distance readout. In the real-world scenario, we really need to know how far we're from the runway in order to make the accurate position report. But the workaround being in the Microsoft simulator, we'll just add up all the distance and we can get our position report. I'll say something like Bremerton traffic, Cessna 259 Bravo Delta is about a 9-mile final runway 02, side step to left downwind circle 20 Bremerton. As we're approaching to our final approach fix, we just want to do a final before landing checklist. Have our landing lights on, strobe lights on, fuel selectors on both, and the fuel shutoff is on to make sure full. Right about the 1 nautical mile before final approach, we're gonna set our flaps to 10, below 110 flaps 10, and bring down our RPM so we can get a 90 knots stable approach speed before reaching final approach fix. And as we can see, the glide path also activated, so we are guided down. Our autopilot has brought us down to at that 1,800 feet. So we're gonna switch up the autopilot and hand fly the last approach segment. And as we're getting closer to our 2-mile final before runway, I'm gonna make another CTAF call. Remember, traffic number 259 Bravo Delta is about 2 miles short final runway 02, join the left downwind circle 20 Bremerton. And now we're getting closer to our MDA, and we're gonna increase our RPM and maintain 90 knots and never go below that MDA altitude. And now we're getting close to that 1.3 nautical mile radius for the safe circling area. We're gonna make a right turn to join left downwind runway 20. Now that we're established on the downwind, I'm gonna make another traffic call. Bremerton traffic November 259 Bravo Delta is on the midfield left downwind runway 20 circle to land, touch and go Bremerton. Right about now, where we have beamed the 1,000-foot marker, we're able to conclude that we can safely descend to make the landing. We're going to configure our RPM to slow us down and slowly descend. Gonna finish our turn to the base. I'm gonna make a radio call. Permanent traffic, November 259 Bravo Delta, left base, runway 20, touch and go, Bremerton. As we turn inbound, we're gonna make another radio call. Permanent traffic, November 259 Bravo Delta, final, runway 20, touch and go, Bremerton. Right now we're pretty high up there, so we're gonna reduce our RPMs and put our flaps to full flaps. You can see our PAPI light is changing, and we're trying to aim that 65 knots for touchdown. Alright, right after touchdown, we're gonna do flaps up, full power, center line, speed 55, pitch up, rotate, and we're gonna wait for that positive rate and click that suspend. And now we're just gonna pitch for 74, the best rate of climb, and wait for that 1,160 before on track to Zogi. And about now, we're gonna make a radio call to Bremerton CTAF. Bremerton 259 Bravo Delta is leaving the airfield southwest. Yep, Bremerton. Immediately follow that, we're gonna switch over to Seattle departure and make our radio call. Seattle departure, November 259 Bravo Delta is 1,000, climbing 4,000 via the mist out of Bremerton.
After the call, we got the silent treatment from ATC, but we still need to fly the plane.
As we're passing 1,200 on the GPS, it actually has that 1,200 as a missed approach point. We were just gonna manually direct to Zogi.
And right about now, the ATC replied to find out about Delta, ident and see your next request. And we tell ATC that we want to continue the mist and hold as published. And the ATC replied back, November 259 Bravo Delta, you're 2 miles southwest of Bremerton, indicating 1,900 climbing to 4,000, and hold as published. And up until now, we have finished the entire circle to land and going mist out of Bremerton. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you soon in the future.